Am I the asshole for not letting my in-laws continue to be late for everything? Married 16 years and my in-laws have never been on time for anything. Not just a couple of minutes late, usually 20-30 minutes or more, and they don't ever tell us they're going to be late. On Halloween they were supposed to be here at 6:30 to go trick-or-treating. My kids are teens so they already had plans but cancelled to spend time with them instead. At 7:15 we called and they said they were 5 minutes away. 22 minutes later, they arrived without any concerns. This inspired a new rule for me. I called it the 5 minutes rule. Basically, if you tell me you're gonna be somewhere at a time and aren't, after 5 minutes I will leave. If we are meeting to eat or something, and you're late, we will order and eat without you. We will leave when we finish even if they're just getting there. Tonight they had plans to take my kids out for dinner. They said they'd be here at 7. We talked at 2 p.m. and I reminded them of the new rule. At 7:05 they weren't here and had not called or anything, so I called them. They said they were 10 minutes away. I told them to not bother with it. They tried to ask me to give them another chance since they live an hour away, and I said no way and stuck to it. I feel like they are disrespectful by doing this and that they aren't valuing my time. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. It's one thing if it's a rare occurrence, but their behavior is chronic. Is your spouse on board with this plan? Not the asshole. My stepmom is like this. Late to everything. We adopted our foster son earlier this year and she tried to tell me the judge would wait for her if she was late. Face with rolling eyes I told her we would not wait if they were late as that is not how court works. Not the asshole. That's inconsiderate AF. I have taken a very similar stance with my parents because my mom has no sense of respect for other people's time. Oh well, they'll just have to wait. Nope. Not me. We celebrated my daughter's 18th birthday an hour away and we were 10 minutes out when my mom texted all excitedly. We're on our way, smile. I said we are parking. See ya when ya get here. We had already gotten our food by the time they were there. Tough shit. Should have left when you were asked. Not the asshole. This is an absolutely perfect example of boundary setting. My favorite explanation of boundaries is that a boundary is a simple rule. If you do X, then I will do Y. If you don't show up when you said, then I will leave after 5 minutes. The thing is, you can't control other people's behavior, but you can control your own. So if they do something that's unacceptable to you, let them know how you will respond in the future and then do it. So not only aren't you an asshole, but you are a textbook example of how to deal with people who keep messing up your life. Good work. Info. How old are your in-laws? Since before I can remember my grandparents used to always be an hour late to everything. It became a running joke in our family and we used to just tell them an earlier time, not do anything with them that required them to be on time. I think it was just because they were slower in their old age and it was harder for them to remember to keep track of time. 5 minutes is a very strict window. They'll say something like, a single wrong turn or an off GPS can make you 5 minutes late. It'll be very easy for them to sell you as a hard ass with such a small amount of time. I'd adjust it to 15 minutes. It's a more universal amount of time for being late, and you'll look very magnanimous for stretching the time and giving it compromise. It also sounds like they're regularly late by more than that, so you're still holding them to a rule. Edit. Made it sound like 5 minutes isn't reasonable for chronic late people. They should be going early. However, switching the time to 15 minutes makes it look more reasonable for the rest of the family that might end up hearing about this. Am I the asshole for telling my half-sister she doesn't deserve my mom's necklace? Hello everyone, I'm coming on Reddit to seek advice because I think I'm in the wrong. I 21F have 2 full siblings, Michael, 23M, and Damien, 25M. We have a half-sister, Elsie, 18F, who is a result of an affair. Our mother, 50M, is unfortunately terminally ill. The doctors have told us she doesn't have much time left. She called us all in to talk about her will and what we would each be getting. My mother was a banker and amassed quite the portfolio. Shortly after Elise was born, her mother wasn't very active in her life, leaving her to move in with us and live with us. I could always tell Mom held some sort of resentment to her. My mom wasn't strong enough to leave after the affair and she regrets it every day. Mom raised Elsie like her own for so long, but all Elsie could do was be snarky towards her and always say, "But you're not my real mom." Of course she'd only say that when Mom was trying to discipline her. But as soon as she needed something expensive she'd be as sweet as sugar towards Mom. I avoided Elsie growing up because I always felt like she ruined our picture-perfect family. Back to the day this happened, Mom was reading out her will on her bed. My mother owns a beautiful emerald necklace, a family heirloom. She looks directly at Elsie and tells her she can keep it. I started crying immediately. It doesn't even make sense, she's not entirely part of our family, her and Mom share no blood. I began to scream and yell at Elsie. I told her I wished she never walked into our lives, and that she should just leave because no one wanted her here. Damien tried to calm me down and reminded me we were in a hospital. Michael left the room with Elsie to avoid escalation. I saw Mom crying and it kind of hurt, but she hurt me worse. I grabbed my bag and left. It's been 3 days and I've gotten non-stop messages from extending family saying I hurt my mom and she didn't mean any harm. Am I the asshole? Minor update. Hi all. I have received some very well-worded and thought-out comments, DMS. Just to answer some questions, the heirloom comes from my mom's side, not dad's. My father passed 2 years ago. Elsie's mom is a deadbeat, to put it nicely. My brothers rarely speak to Elsie, mainly due to them living 3 states away. I will be talking to my mom ASAP. She wants to talk and I want to as well, because at the end of the day I love her and would never change that. Update. I visited Mom and we had a really long talk about my life and growing up. I apologized to her and she accepted with a smile. She told me she'd always forgive me no matter what. That's why I love my mom, she's a kind soul. I expressed to her that I felt I should have the necklace because we are blood and my grandma had it before. Before her was my great-grandma, the X4. My mom started to tear up and explained that she thought I didn't want it and may as well pass it on to Elsie. She said she knows Elsie isn't her real daughter, but over the years her resentment turned to pity cause she really didn't have anyone, especially after I moved out to live with my boyfriend. Mom said we could call Elsie and come to an agreement. Mom called Elsie and she actually came over to the hospital instead. She sat with us and I asked her what her plans are with the necklace. She told me she was gonna take really good care of it and wear it. I asked her if I could give her a portion of my current inheritance money as a way to buy it off her. E.g., we both get $300,000 but I give her $25K. Then she gets $325,000 and I get $275,000 and the necklace. She said that was a good idea because I clearly have a connection to this necklace and she would benefit from liquid anyways. Mom reassured her she would get other pieces of jewelry. My mom really loved bling. I feel happier knowing I could come to some sort of an agreement, but what's most important to me is that my mom and I are good, and we are. I cried, told her I loved her and gave her a really big hug before I left. I said goodbye to Elsie and was on my way. I called Damien and Michael when I got home to explain what had happened. They said they were proud of me for reaching an agreement everyone was happy with. We talked a little more of the course of 2 hours and we agreed that whilst we don't want Elsie actively in our lives, we were gonna make sure she was set, and Michael said we should check in on her when we can. Very reluctantly saying you are the asshole because honestly how else were you supposed to react? I mean, what in the world is your mother thinking leaving a family heirloom to her husband's oops baby? I'd be mad as hell too. Even if she raised her as her own, at best Elise should get a small monetary amount compared to you and your brothers. I'm sorry that this is the decision your mother has come to and that you now have to deal with this, and probably alone at that. IDK if it's possible for her to change her mind or even have the time to change the will ATP. Seems like even trying to have that conversation with your mom would just cause more stress on her and she's already ill. This is a mess all around. I avoided Elsie growing up because I always felt like she ruined our picture-perfect family. No, that was your father, and I am just shocked that a teenage girl was snarky to her mother figure. You are the asshole. It's your mother's decision. Did she ever say that she resented Elsie, or is that just your perception? As clearly your mother does see Elsie as part of the family. Elsie probably sees your mother as her own too under the circumstances. The "you're not my mom" kickbacks will be a natural teenager response to being told, "No." If you think about it, you probably said rotten things as a teenager too. I'm sorry for your impending loss. Unfortunately, you're being the cause of conflict, drama here, and I strongly recommend you make peace with your family and apologize to your mother before it's too late. I could always tell Mom held some sort of resentment to her. My mom wasn't strong enough to leave after the affair and she regrets it every day. Info. Did she actually say this or are you just projecting? You are the asshole. The only person you need to blame is your father, who by the way doesn't feature at all in this story. Where is he in all this? Elsie may be annoying, but that is your mom's necklace and her choice who to give it to. Elsie is not the reason your father cheated, she was the consequence. Stop wasting the precious time you have left with your mother and grow up. You are the asshole. I'm sorry about your mom, but you're acting like a spoiled brat over a necklace. Elsie didn't ruin anything. Your father is the one that screwed up. Stop taking it out on Elsie. Am I the asshole for not letting my dad's friend attend his medical appointment? Bit of context first, my mom and dad have been married for 60 years. They have both had affairs. Mom's ended a long time ago, but my dad's friend is still in his life decades later. My mom hates confrontation, so puts up with this situation, and the friend even visits their house and stays for tea. Face with rolling eyes. My dad's friend tries so hard to be helpful and takes him to doctor's appointments and out for evenings, which has really helped him, and me otherwise I'd have to take him, meaning time off work. My dad, by the way, is 94. Anyway, dad is now in hospital and pretty unwell. There's a doctor's meeting Monday and the friend wants to attend to help represent dad who can't talk for himself right now. Problem is we were all at the hospital recently and mum lost her temper, in private with me afterwards, about how the friend behaved, so I told the friend she couldn't come to the meeting. I feel like an ass cause I know dad would want her there, but I also know my mum will be so upset if I let her. My mum's a sweet little old lady and the friend is very assertive, meaning I always feel I need to stick up for mum cause I'm confident and assertive, the opposite of her. I'm fed up being in the middle though. Not the asshole. What a fucking mess. While yes, the friend can visit your dad, she needs to take a backseat. If she tries again to assert anything, then maybe it will be time for difficult discussions. Whoever is in charge of his medical decisions should be there. If it is your mom, then affair partner needs to get lost. Katharine Hepburn did not go to Spencer Tracy's funeral because she knew it wasn't her place. Friend should get the same playbook. My grandmother was the other woman when her AP partner died. His wife assured she would not be allowed to visit. Not the asshole. He never left your mom for AP. She knew he was married. I'd let her know her place. He can talk to AP on the phone or arrange visits around your mother's schedule. Remove this woman from your mom's presence. She can go back to sneaking around like she did before. I'm sorry about your father. Info. Who between mom and friend is more up to date on your father's medical history, condition, and most importantly wishes regarding his care? If the answer is mom, then you should be backing your mom. If the answer is the friend, then the friend actually needs to be there. The three of them are equally to blame for creating this absolute cluster bomb of a situation. That being said, at the end of the day the issue of him having a side piece was settled the minute mom let her sit down for tea at the family table. Now it's all about how to best care for your father. Tell the mistress that you could ban her entirely from seeing your dad while in hospital. You're not gonna do that, but you're also not gonna have her sticking her nose into his care decisions. That is for his wife and his daughter to do, not her. Am I the asshole for laughing at my coworker who chose to drink their own pee instead of getting fired? I'm currently working at a mine in Alaska. We live in camp while we work and we are nowhere near civilization. The only way to get here is by airplane or winter road. We are expanding, so we have more manpower than usual, so we have temporary housing in tents. These aren't camping tents and an air mattress or anything. They are proper Arctic survival tents. With electricity and heating in every. The only difference is that they do not have private bathrooms like to regular camp rooms. So you have to walk about 100 yards to get to a bathroom. This has led to some guys using piss jugs. It's exactly what it sounds like. You buy bottled drink and then you have a container so you don't have to leave your room to relieve yourself. Gross but understandable. The one iron-bound rule is don't get caught. If the maids find it, you are screwed. Terminated. Put on the no-hire list for 90 days. My buddy Dan double screwed up. He forgot to get a bottle, so he used a coffee cup he had in his room. Then he forgot to dispose of the cup in the morning. He got called to the office to be let go. He said it wasn't urine but his tea that he had let get cold. He proved it by drinking it. They didn't fire him because what kind of maniac would drink day-old cold urine? He was telling us all how he pulled one over on the company and I laughed. I thought it was funny. He said it wasn't funny and that it's bullshit that he had to do that. He called me an asshole for not having more empathy. I honestly thought it was hilarious. Info. What's the pay like? Not the asshole, but your buddy is right. It's fucked up that that is the situation. I get that the maids shouldn't have to deal with that. The worker's significant other shouldn't have to deal with walking out in the cold in the middle of the night to piss. There should be a better solution than don't get caught. Pay one person extra to gather the medical grade piss jugs and dispose of them properly and then wash them to hand out again for overnight. It's not that hard. Nah, I mean you can have empathy and still find it fucking hysterical. At the end of the day he got to keep his job. It's a great story, and he'll probably never forget to buy a bottle of Gatorade again. Not the asshole. That is objectively funny AF. It's really disgusting, and although I think I would have vomited instead of laughed, or maybe vomited and then laughed, I can see the reaction. On another note, I wouldn't have told a living soul that I had done that either. Not the asshole. He got called to the office to be let go. He said it wasn't urine but his tea that he had let get cold. He proved it by drinking it. No empathy necessary here. Laughing was the correct response. Not the asshole.